Alright guys, such comic again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Prid and Shotzzy ran a foot race yesterday, but the main conversation that Prid and Shotzzy were having, which turned heads, was about Mercules' impact on this OpTic lineup. Prid says that Merc is carrying all of those three guys every single weekend, and Prid denies it, but there is no doubt. Merc has been a key player for this OpTic team. Can that continue for the rest of the season? Certainly these online games where arguably it's Merc's performances that's bailing them out of a lot of moments. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. This, of course, the OpTic boys taking that win against G2 Minnesota the other day, where, yeah, remarkable series. I think there was even a major one qualifier where they played G2, and they also won, I think, on a raid, largely because Mercules just carried them over the finish line. We do have some other interesting numbers here that John puts out. We saw some of these graphics yesterday. This is another one. Again, it is a little bit messy, but this is Soaker versus Slayer. So EKIA per 10 versus Hill time. So there's it's difficult to really say what the correlation here is or should be, but there are a couple of outliers, right? You've got guys like, what's interesting especially is Ghosty's teams, because you always tend to find this with Ghosty last year on Thieves, that he is the ultimate soaker, right? By a mile. You can see Ghosty's hill time per 10 is higher than anyone else. Exceed isn't a million miles away. Gwinn, Abuzah and Dashy, those are really the top soakers, but Ghosty's in a different planet, and as a result of that it allows someone like Neptune to just run around and get kills. The situation on Thieves is more concerning, right? Because if you look at where the Thieves guys are, HyDra is down here, right at the bottom of hill time, which is no surprise. Surprising to me that Lunarz is all the way down there as well, to be honest, as an AR. I guess Surge just aren't getting any points, so there is that. All of these boys are in hell, to be honest. But Prid and HyDra, those have been, for the last few years, the two players right at the bottom in terms of hill time. We're seeing a similar thing here. But if you're going to have HyDra down there and Prid down there, you're gonna need to have someone a little bit higher, right? You're gonna have to have someone in the Dashy Abuzah category at the very least. Not really what they have. You know, Scrappy is over here with a bit more hill time than HyDra. Of course, he's very fast paced, but that means that aBeZy and, of course, well, it was Kenny, but they were kind of in a similar ballpark, right? And it's the same story with Kiz and Celium. So this is pretty interesting to keep an eye on as we go forward. Speaking of Sib, actually, and his role on the Gentlemates, Formal was having a few words about him as well, given that he considers Dashy and Sib to be kind of not his protégés exactly, but certainly part of his AR tree. Others may disagree with that. But there are some questions. Who are the best ARs in the game right now? What's the list? Formal talked about it and said that he thinks Rancor has got to be up there. Just ultra consistent last year, similar story this year as well. What do you guys think of the current rankings of the top players in the game? Because again, if we're talking ARs, are we talking ARs and flexes? How does that work? Because really Super is like the slow AR on this team. Again, Rancor is primarily running an AR. Mercules is probably the best of the ARs, I would say, still, and we'll talk a little bit more about him in a second. But Formal's like, oh, well, maybe he doesn't count fully as an AR. If you're looking at purely like main ARs, then obviously Scrappy's in the conversation, Dashy's in the conversation, Sib's up there, right? Obviously Ghosty isn't a million miles away. For some time he was probably considered the best. If you're looking at best player in the world, you know, you go into Neptune, are you going to Simp? Like, is it still Mercules? Who knows, right? It is interesting. I think the main point is that people are putting Rancor in the conversation. Abuzah also has to have a mention here as well. I think he's been pretty excellent for FaZe so far this year. It depends how you differentiate. Are you just looking at all the ARs? Are you considering flexes to be different? Whatever. A lot of the names are pretty similar to what you might expect. There are a couple of clips here. I might share this one for you guys in a second. Ziddy's 1v4 against FaZe Vegas. They were having some fun playing with some off-meta stuff, let's just put it that way. And Ziddy takes his opportunity when he gets it here on the exposure. There was also this pretty nice shot that he hit as well here. I think it was onto 04. Yeah, maybe it was this one. So he picks up the first kill towards mid on the exposure. Then falls up towards the left-hand side over towards the B-bomb, hits the little wall bounce quick scope, but unfortunately goes on to lose the round. But there was this map that they played where Hitch, Zinni, Teep and Symphony, they get the win against Simpo for Abuzah, Drazah, 6-4. Again, I don't think they were taking it all that seriously, but some are saying, oh, well, it might be over for FaZe. However, the main clips I wanted to share were from this. So Shotzzy and Pred playing a bit of pickleball. We've seen this before. They do the IRL live streams. It's always pretty entertaining. And, well, Pred, they still live locally, still good friends, even after all the drama with OpTic. Not like that was massive internal drama, you know, stuff outside of the server, whatever. Pred's doing fine on Falcons, not like the team is in a fantastic spot, but he's playing reasonably well. He's getting the bag, right? So that's all okay. And it's nice to see these guys still hanging out. Now, they do have a foot race, and I'll share that for you guys in a second, actually right about here, which Shotzzy, maybe they need to run it back because he said, I couldn't stop laughing, so, you know, we got to make it work. There's always been a bit of talk, obviously, about Shotzzy's movement, right? Because obviously it doesn't matter, like, inside or outside of the game. But my point is that people often have said in the past, Shotzzy should be called Dashy, and Dashy should be called Shotzzy, right? Just because Dashy's known for having a very straight shot and Shotzzy's known for his movement. So their gamer tags are almost like the opposites, but some people are watching this and saying, okay, maybe Shotzzy's got it right overall. He shouldn't be known as Dashy or whatever. So there is that clip. But Pred's main conversation was around Mercules and his impact on the team. Shotzzy says, my back's starting to hurt, and Pred says, look, how do you think Mercules feels, right? That guy's been carrying you boys all season. He doesn't complain. He's got the whole green wall on his back, and he's got the 3 teammates as well. No wonder that guy's having a hard time.
Last one standing.
This is weak. There's 2 on B.
Enemies are setting charges.
Oh god. Oh god.
Oh.
Only 1 enemy left.
Oh.
Neutralize.
They can't stop me. They can't stop me right now. They can't stop me right now.
Bomb offline.
3, 2, 1, go! AG1. AG1. That was AG. 100%. 100%. Without a doubt. Post-game interview, what do we think?
I couldn't stop laughing.
Refund my point.
Yeah, I have longer strides.
Bro, my brother, look at the calves. Holy fuck.
That's all power.
That's power?
Yeah, that's power.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, yo, your calves are fucking humongous. Bro, how are your calves bigger than your thighs? That makes no sense.
I don't have, bro, this is like man legs, dude. Like you got baby legs, dude.
No, these are men legs too. Yo, holy fuck, I've never seen calves like that.
Vulcan legs, bro. Like,
I got you.
where's the water, dude?
Okay, literally.
And then you just put 2.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie, my back's starting to hurt though. Can't hold you.
Are you stretching or no?
How do you think Merc's
Fuck,
back
man.
feels? Do you think Merc complains about his back?
No. Have you seen his back?
Dude, yeah, he's got fucking 3 people on it. And the whole green wall.
No, he has no back. I'm not gonna lie, he has no back. That's why he's able to carry.
You got everything?
Yeah.
So is Pred right that Mercules is the key man? He's carried OpTic every single series. Not entirely, but to an extent I think there is some truth to that, right? Like if you look at the numbers, overall numbers this season, pretty remarkable. Everyone is negative apart from Merc, which is pretty crazy, right? I think that this season, their record, I mean, if we look at the CDL standings real quick, they're second in the standings this year, 9-4 record, 135 points. Of course, Major 1, they were only 4-3, but then at the actual Major itself at the LAN, then they did well. They made the finals, 3-1 in the series count. Of course, they 3-0'd everyone apart from in the grand finals. And Major 2 so far in the qualifiers, they're 2-0, 6-2 map count, looking pretty good. So the idea that everyone is negative, right? Shotzzy's at a 0.99, Dashy at a 0.99, Huke at a 0.96 is pretty wild. I mean, you'd certainly expect Dashy to be in the, you know, low 1.0s, probably. Like if Merc's going to be at a 1.14, you're probably expecting Dashy to be maybe a 1.07 or something in that kind of ballpark. you'd probably expect at least one of the SMGs to be slightly over the number as well. But this is maybe good, right, in many respects. They're playing good teams. They're not having, you know, fantastic individual level, at least online, that's true. But they still delivered when it mattered at the LAN, right? And I think that's the key question. Around a player like Shotzzy especially, yeah, his online play hasn't been the best. There's been talk about him playing effectively trial and error, right? Making a load of mistakes to learn what you can and cannot get away with. I think there's some level of truth to that, because if you do look at Shotzzy's performances at the LAN events, you know, all of his last LAN events have been exceptionally good. Major 1, he was very solid. You guys can see by these numbers here. We just look at, maybe we'll go to event stats here. Major 1, he had a 1.14 overall. It's like in the qualifiers, Shotzzy had a 0.93, Major 1 qualifiers. In the qualifiers so far, Major 2, he's got a 0.92. But at the Major, 1.14, positive in all the game modes. Like, just a no-brainer, right? So, and if you look at Shotzzy's events, you go back to last year, you look at the Esports World Cup, his performance there on LAN, his performance at Champs last year on LAN, there's no real doubt about that. So I'm not concerned about Shotzzy by any means. I was expecting a bit more out of Dashy so far this season, I think that's fair to say. I'll also say that Huke was one of the big bailout moments against the G2 team when they won the control of the overload. That was all about Huke really having a big takeover there on the Scar. But overall, it is the Mercules show. Now, a lot of that is in the search and destroy. They have won a lot of critical search and destroys. Their record this year is 10-7 in search. But again, there's been a couple of game 5, such as that G2 one. And there was also that other G2 series. Okay, it was actually a 3-1 here, not a 3-2. If we just look back at that one real quick, because I feel like Mercules also bailed them out of this one as well. I think there was, yeah, it was that raid search game 2, where I think Merc was making some plays this map. Anyway, Mercules has been a difference maker for Optic, there is no doubt. Without Mercules, I know that their record certainly online wouldn't be as good. I think there are some valid concerns as to whether Mercules is such a bailout that it might be affecting Optic negatively in a way, because they feel like they can get away with it because, oh, well, Merc will just pop 3, right, and will win the game anyway. That's obviously not always going to happen. Merc's averages are very strong, but if Merc has had a bad series, can the rest of the boys step up? On LAN, there's not too much concern about that. If anything, it's fantastic for a player like Shotzzy, because he can feel free to run around, make all the mistakes he wants, and he knows that Merc is going to pop 5 at P3 or whatever it was in order to win the game anyway. So, you know, maybe it's absolutely perfect having a player that's just that good, but just the fact that he's so good in every mode, like his Slayer rating is the highest of anyone, his respawn KD is the highest of anyone on the team. Search and destroy, of course, Merc has been ridiculous since he's joined the league. He's got a 1.48 as well so far this season, 1.1 on overload. It's really the hard points where it's surprising that Huke and Shotzzy have been getting cooked to a large extent. But again, if you filter only by the LAN, you'll find a bit of a different story. And look, whatever Pred says about Optic, they're still in the finals of the most recent championship. They're the reigning world champions. And yeah, maybe Mercules is doing more of the heavy lifting, but does it really matter if you're winning events? For Falcons, they've still got a fair bit of work to do. If they want to get to the point of being a consistently solid force here in the Call of Duty League, that can mix it up on the championship Sundays. Because for now, despite lots of optimism to a degree around that Falcons team, at least based on what they were doing in Stint 1, because I wasn't convinced by that Falcons roster, but the Major 1 qualifiers, they started to look really good. All of a sudden, that is less clear. So intuit your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
The util you have, because you have a little drone. Is that a little silver drone?
I don't know. Just getting me in a chow.
What is this good util?
I love CL.
I fucking love it.
Come on, him.
I want to see what the needle drone looks like.
Dude, this guy is such, like, he just plays so gay. He chowed you, didn't he? He chowed you, didn't he?
He just threw the fucking drone at you.
Oh, bro.
It's so trolly, bro. Dashy's so trolly.
Oh, Brita's laugh is so contagious.
Yeah, Dashy is so good.
Brita's laugh is so contagious. Nice!
Good shit, baby. Go on.
That is 1 round. Keep it up. up and we can talk.
This guy's shot is awful. He just kills me with all just the fucking.